Welcome back to the Xfinity Analyst Desk here at ESL Pro League. CLG takes map 1. Moving on, we're going to have train between these two teams. Got some giggles to my side. That was the Bears.
I saw something.
It was me.
It was James.
It was both of us.
I
did a little
expected better out of you.
I did a little
Expect
giggles.
that out of him.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, cool. Hey.
Either way, we're going to have map 2 coming up now. We're going to see if Misfits can recover, if Sean and Shazam and the Frenchies can all make something happen now against CLG. But what we're starting to see is the CLG squad is nothing to slouch at on their T sides. Very, very dynamic, very different ways that they're attacking the defenses. And it's tough to get a read on. I mean, that's what, a 2-win CT half for Misfits on Mirage? That's a pretty big shutdown.
It's a little kind of skewed when you lose all those pistol rounds, those ecos. And so I don't think the score did it any justice. I thought Misfits was actually, you know, they had the momentum at the start of the game. And one thing that I was talking about, James, in the match was that, you know, if you are taking a slow on their eco, you know, save all your Molotovs, you know, toss a smoke here and there, and then use your Molotovs in common spots, because if you do that, then they have to move or they're going to fry.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. Just save your Molotov.
Ferret them out.
Just ferret them out. Just toss them in corners and then take it slow. As you saw, they lost too many ecos.
Yeah.
Too much.
The ferret, the most elegant of all rodents. I mean, what do we expect now? What is the idea, since we're on this kind of train of thought about the anti-ecos and how both teams struggle with it, on train, like what are kind of the ideal ways to play your anti-ecos or against these pistols? Is it to stay at range, risk the deagles, or to do some kind of a faster...
One of the most common things that you want to do on train is you want to use your best spawn. Like if you're, say we're T-side, right? We want to see if they're pushing E-box. So you usually use your best spawn to see if they're pushing up E-box, and then some other guy will flash over and they're like, oh, if they're not pushing E-box, let's just fly down ladder and take outside fast. Molly the bomb train, smoke off back green, and then make sure nobody's flanking. Like that's like T-side, right? CT side, what do you do? CT side, what I would do is I would get IV control, right? Because as soon as you have that, then everything's in front of you. I would just double push IV early and then have 2 people spawning bomb train.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Let's bring up the Betway odds. We'll see what they're thinking are the favorites in this match. And yeah, CLG still favorites. This time a little bit wider margin. I think last time was 1.75 to 2. This time it's spreading up a little bit thinner, as I think perhaps getting a little bit more confidence in the CLG squad out of what we've seen. Fair play, Eric? I mean, you didn't have confidence in that first map.
I mean, I thought that Mirage would be the Misfits map, you know, because they always done pretty well on it, and I just, you know, they were winning until all those ecos. I mean, they had it's a game of momentum, and I think Train, maybe CLG is just on a hype train right now. They're 3-0 in the league, and they're beating good teams, and they're showing like they're a prominent team. You know, a playoff contender for the season that we've seen so far.
Yeah, they're definitely feeling themselves right now. Definitely.
Always.
Well, I mean, it's still pretty early. Let's not talk about playoffs just yet, because it's still a long way.
That's true.
What are we thinking this Misfits squad? I mean, is that a disappointing first showing? I know you're a big fan of Devin Duvek and Amanek.
I mean, no matter what the team is, it's super disheartening to lose those kind of eco rounds. It's like just go a little faster. You guys have insane aim. Like stop. Like if you don't have like a perfect strat that you know is gonna work, like regardless of where they are, just don't even do it. Just go a little faster.
Get loose.
Yeah, loosey goosey.
Get a little loose. You know, have them run out. Have them shoot, and just don't rely too much on methodical play. You gotta have the yin and the yang. Mix it up. Get a little crazy.
The first anti-eco that was lost was due to time.
Yeah.
There was not one single armor on the CTs. There was one CZ, and everything else was default pistols. You hate to see it.
Absolutely do. I mean, it was kind of funny. We were having a little chat about the in-game leaders, and obviously both Sean and FNS make them better teams with their in-game leadership, but both of the in-game leaders really struggle on the individual level. I mean, it's just kind of funny seeing those similarities on both teams. So it's almost like going into train, which one is going to struggle more? But we can answer that question with our boys over on the other desk.
Yeah, who's going to out-pronax the other person? I think Sean out-pronaxed.
Is that the player that gets cut? Or?
Too soon. Too soon.
Harsh.
What do you guys think of those eco rounds? You had fun with those?
I mean, we talked about it, right? There's so much momentum that shifts based off of that. So it really was tragic there, because Misfits certainly had not just a 5-0 lead, but a very convincing 5-0 lead. And it looked like they were really going to run away with things. But you can't sleep on that. And all of a sudden, things change direction. We have Misfits with the loss. Now, of course, I think that of the 2 maps we're going to see here from Misfits tonight, I would personally put the odds on them winning Train as opposed to Mirage. I still think that CLG is going to win 2-0. I think that they looked quite good towards the end of that game and that things really started to gel. But if ever Misfits were going to find a map win, I would say it's here.
I think there's a huge emphasis on Ivy. I hope that Sean appreciates it more because CLG either don't play it or don't play it properly. It seemed in the last maps that we saw, and that's some game tape since the beginning of the season. These are definitely the matches that should be watched by Sean as he knows he was going to play CLG today. So I hope that he does focus on that, and then also for Misfits, they just are pretty good at Train. I do think they have a good advantage here, and we kick it off with a player dropping out of the server, unfortunately. Not exactly sure what happened. Hopefully it's just a quick reconnect, and then we're right back into things. There it is.
Clutch.
Clutch, exactly.
What's your favorite pistol play on Train?
My favorite pistol play on Train is to send everybody through upper. The only thing that kind of messes with this, well, the two things would be a Heaven player or someone in Z, but to send everyone through upper B and then throw a smoke down the ramp and have one player stay up there with the Molotov. Keep it simple, guarantee a bomb plant.
Yeah.
You could even have 3 players not buy. I'm not even kidding. And just save, because a lot of people, I mean, with that $800, if you save 2 rounds, you can get armor ump, or get that plant and maybe even win the round and just be stacking Skrilla.
Coincidentally, Launders, that is also Finesse's favorite play. So it's going to be exactly what we watch unfold. It's going to be a couple of smoke grenades on the execution. It's going to be a flooding of terrorism into the bomb site. But Shazam's got other ideas. He's able to stop one already. And again, the Deagle in the pistol round from Rikke finds some success. Kusta finds a forward position as he gets all the way towards the Z. And Shazam and Six start to already unfold this. Of course, Kusta tries to find some cover, but instead he takes one to the noggin. And that leaves it all on Finesse. Now he's got his Molotov, but he needs to find Sick here and now. Sick just running for his life, and it all works out. The defuse shines through. That's Misfits with the pistol.
Yeah, and you know, because they have nothing to counteract the Molotov that FNS had in his hands. If there was just like 2 players alive, it's a much more winnable situation. It was really just up to his teammates at his Finesse to have them go and push up and try to get kills. And that's why we saw Kusta being so aggressive, is because you have 1 spot at upper, 1 on default, 1 back pop, and 1 person who maybe watches ladder also plays upper in one way or another that can sit there and wait. But even those spots aren't great versus USPs. And so the best way to make sure that you win the round or that post plant is to try to make it a big man advantage or get a lot of map control to make it really difficult or kill time, so that FNS and his molly play have a lot more viability in the situation. In the last like 15 seconds, if it's a 1v2, they'll win that round every single time. So they just have to kind of get him there.
An array of flashbangs to be thrown into the bomb site as the T's flood over. Sick, able to watch the cross, stops the bomb, and that's 3 quick kills. Shazam able to find the 4th, and that leaves only the Aussie. But he is behind enemy lines, and Davidovic walks right by. So many backs have been turned.
Oh my god.
He's able to pull the trigger on the 1st, and there is the trade frag. That's one of those moments where you're given so many opportunities, so many targets, like you just don't know what to do.
Your brain just goes into quantum physics mode, and you're just like balancing all these different risks and rewards and thinking, who do I kill first? Do I let this guy walk by? And then your eyes go cross, you miss everything.
You just fumble it.
Start seeing stars, yeah.
He's able to grab 1 though, so not half bad. Just like this buy here from CLG. 4 AKs, a single Galil, and enough grenades to execute or fake.
UMP is very viable on Train in a couple of different positions. Ladder is one of them, and on inner with someone to support you, but even just on top of pop is really useful. And it's a close position, so sometimes it's even better than another weapon, like better than an AK or better than an op in that situation. Similar to Cobble in that sense. Oh, Sick playing the opposite side of the schools, and actually shoots a guy maybe a little bit too early who wasn't checking him.
Yeah. We saw the trigger discipline from Rikke. We don't see it there.
Oh my gosh.
But we do see Sean Gares creep his way up and then swap to the AK, which leaves us into the 3 versus 3. They've lost the man watching the flank, so CLG are certainly going to feel the pressure on the bomb site instead. Cutler trying to keep his eyes up as Kusta watches the backside, but now it's Devidovic to hit the timing and the headshot onto Cutler. Amanek with the next, and now it's down to the 1v1. 2K already for Rick. He's able to drop and find another. That's CLG with an early buy and an early round to the board.
Damn, well done. Well done with the 3K for Ricky, and obviously it's such a tragedy for FNS up in ladder room to have died in that situation, and look how he plays this just off of sound alone. I thought when he fell it was going to be a little bit of trouble for him as Amanek came around that corner, but he handled it really well. And 3 players with 0 kills. CLG have a round. They're going to even be buying a MAC-10 for Cutler, who maybe are assuming that Misfits have no money left, but they'd be mistaken. They've got 4 rifles to work with. Amanek, the only man who has just a deagle. Smokes are coming out over the site, but there's no execute. False exec to A, and they have kind of baited the rotate out from a dedicated B player, but nothing too dramatic.
It's going to allow Sick to go for the repeat. Pop flash does blind the eyes of Kusta, who is toppled. As the 5v4 is what Misfits have to play off of, but they also need this retake to get rolling. Ethan's able to get himself closer into the train yard. There's so many CTs all starting to push in. Ethan up close, kicks in the teeth of Shazam, and then does just keep trying to spot bodies. Devidovic seen and dealt with, as it leaves it down to only 3. Misfits lose their lead, and CLG are going to tie things up at 2 apiece.
Off of that straight up instant entry coming in, and it was actually Misfits' Z player to not be able to do enough damage, not able to kill Kusta right away, even though he did eventually seal up that frag, but ultimately just not enough defense to stop an entry onto the site. And we're going to take another look at Ethan's kill right here. He obviously peeks right there because he hears Shazam running the entire way up the yellow train, and sometimes when you're holding an angle and you know that somebody is going to clear you, you don't want to sit and wait for your fate to come to you. Instead, you want to use the ability to surprise them in a situation where they're not going to expect you to be aggressive, pop out, and have a few extra milliseconds to get a first bullet out.
Now, yesterday versus Cloud9, we watched CLG just continuously hit that B bomb site until it no longer worked. They've gone to it this entire half thus far, but players starting to poise for the A site instead, and that's where Misfits have 3 dedicated players with a force over on Ivy. Regardless, we are going to watch CLG just start to puncture their way through, already removing 3 players from the site. Sean able to respond back with 1, but he too toppled, leaving only Sick. That was one of the 2 M4s moved forward from that last round. So now he goes down and Kusta goes out, able to get away, leaving Sick all alone.
It's kind of counterintuitive, but when walkouts work really well is when the other team has sometimes, and you can kind of do anything. If both teams have full grenades, you on T side have the option to do whatever you want. A walkout, a full execute, a fast strat, and could be justified depending on the situation. But in a situation where Misfits here, for example, don't have a lot to counter nade with, having a full execute is really good because you're guising your escape through these choke points, and you know that people aren't going to be throwing a ton of mollies and initial grenades at you, even though you're allowing yourself to be telegraphed. So it just gives you the best opportunity when you get out into the site to have favorable engagements, which is the goal of almost every round.
Terrorists win.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Sick actually heard him running up the side, but Finesse gets the better of him. No gun saved here. A full buy up after a recycle of weapons in that last round. So they didn't spend too much. They had enough to now buy, but this is a map where having utility is, I mean,
It's crucial.
It's crucial. And, you know, there's that argument you could say for almost any map, but on CT side, it really just falls apart really quickly when you lose that opening kill.
Now, they do throw their grenades early on to try and get ahead of any kind of an aggressive push. We did watch CLG collapse quite quickly in that last round onto the A site. But I'd say this T side from CLG in comparison to yesterday's game is already a much more dynamic. They've changed up from the B site right into that fast A play last round, and now they have an emphasis over on Ivy. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket and leaving the entirety of their team on one spot, but at least shifting up their initial setup.
I like that we have the bomb stationed up with 2 other players that are looking for Ivy presence in this situation. I'm not sure if they're actually going to prod it enough that they get all the way up, but here we can see Misfits just simply not playing it. And I don't know what it is with NA teams and avoiding Ivy like the plague, but they're just giving them so much freedom to perform a split right here. And they've even thrown grenades, like made a lot of presence. This is no joke.
Smoke grenade to the right side allows the wrap. Now all the positioning here from Misfits on A becomes in question. Ethan walks right by the man on site. That's Sick, who's able to take 2 crucial kills. Shazam finding Ricky off guard with a headshot as well. Should hear the footsteps to his side, but Kusta, oh, near throws that one away. Finesse taps the heads of 2. And that's all that's left for Misfits. Equal numbers on the retake. But Devidovic finds one already, so it's all on Kusta. They know where he was, but they question where he is. So he's able to go to the top side of the spools. Smoke plumes on the bomb, and Devidovic plucks him from the sky. That's Misfits bouncing back and tying things at 3 apiece.
Wow, and they had the flank through CT, but the initial 2 players to come out really had the obligation to trade Sick out. There was no excuse for it, and it's actually the 2nd time that he's played in front of Spool, so the fact that they didn't clear it, even though they ran so far across the site, is a little alarming, to be honest. Losing the mechanical engagement, first of all, is it sucks, but because Sick was able to get that first kill for free, it was pretty much 100 health versus 100 health, meaning it's not as much a trade as it is still an entry. And if they had waited long enough that their players that came through CT had flanked, it would have been a lot easier for them to win, I think, because number one, CLG must have thought, well, okay, they've got to know that now it's a B split, but Misfits really didn't have line of sight on them as they were going through CT. As we saw, Ricky clearing those trains.
This round, Kusta's finding a very rapid opening as he removes Devidovic. Of course, that makes him the only op currently standing. We've got grenades sailing into the bomb site as Ethan goes swinging wide, tries to get ahead of those smokes and almost catches Shazam off guard. Now he jumps above where Sean will take him down. And Sean, he's not looking to fall off of this. Instead, he looks to fight, and that's where Cutler catches him. Shazam still inside the train yard as the bomb has gone down. That's a man advantage for CLG and everybody close to the bomb site. Op in the back lines, providing cover fire for the riflers as they just sit inside their cover. But Ricky, he tries to force the fight, and he goes down, as does Finesse. This is Misfits coming back in, but Cutler takes the next. And now he has the molly. Of course, the CT's down to only 1. On 15 points of health, the odds are stacked against Shazam. He's looking for a parting gift, and he finds one straight to the chest. That's the op of Kusta, and a 4th round for CLG.
5 kills between both Kusta and Cutler, and we see this is a game where the executions are good, the retakes are good as well, and it does come down to these last few moments of the round where Kusta hits a nice flick. You don't even see Sick on his screen, is able to easily take him out, even secures the 3rd kill. 5 kills between the 2 of them. Really well done in that afterplant situation, and a solid attempt from Misfits as well.
Of course, that victory for CLG puts Misfits in a really tough spot. This bye is abysmal. Is there any specific strategy that comes to mind when you see this kind of a bye on Train?
I think that I think you again keep it simple. A lot of choke points on Train are very friendly. 2 pistols. It can be one of the easier sites to win in eco round on, but at the same time, all the same strategies that work on rifle rounds will work just as well on pistols. Just like simple outside takes that can have someone simply watching for an Ivy push in the first 20 seconds of the round, and then having a 2-2 out T-con and ladder, and or simply even having one person go top ladder, hold for pushes, one person watch for an Ivy push and have 3 people come out T-con. It's your widest choke point. You can use your nades to clear it. You can throw your nades over it. And you can keep that distance, which is the most important part, obviously.
Shazam is able to find the head of Rike. Devaduvic up close goes down. That could have been a really big kill, because CLG were just looking to pull the attention towards the B site, which they did. And in that moment, they're able to overwhelm A. They get their bomb in. But Shazam gets his hands on an AK. And then his bullet through the forehead of Ethan. Aminex coming in with the long flank from Ivy. So there is still a chance here for Misfits to at least deal damage. I mean, they're on this bomb site. They don't have a kit to defuse, but they do have a chance still to find something of success.
Just a dance to look for damage. Shazam gets 1 frag. There's not much more for him to find.
So he falls off. And there we have it. Another round for CLG, but a costly one at that, considering Misfits come in with a near absent buy. They get something for their efforts. Opening deagle kill for Shaz. That's where he gets this AK, which he then uses to kill both Ethan and Finesse.
Almost the whole team, just by himself. But still, 5 T rounds on 5 T rounds on Train. It's been a big win so far for CLG, regardless of what happens in the rest of this half. So far, we've seen a lot of variation in their strategy. We've seen them hit both A and B in different ways, as I just mentioned. And they've also picked, they haven't dropped any of their eco rounds, which is a really big plus considering how badly Mirage went in that regard. And it seems like they're also picking just like the correct tempo to deal with CT threats. Sean's actually up here in T-Con, and this is becoming a lot more common to actually get T-Con control as a CT. And here's another map just like Cobble where people complain about the limited options you have on CT side to push and grab information. And T-Con's a very friendly area where you have the ability to know when an execute is happening and get in the faces of people who are trying to do it if it isn't smoked out and if you know that there isn't anyone here. And this might be an opportunity, but the good flash comes in because it's so meta at the moment. FNS unfortunately fluffs the spray. Cutler picks up the slack with 2 nice headshots and bails him out.
Yeah, that was a big moment there from Cutler. Nice setup. In the end, it is success, but Shazzle stopped the bomb. And there's only 30 seconds left. Shazam then removed by Ethan, and Kusta has the cross, but here comes Devaduvic, and he sprays for the second. Cutler down, and it's all on Ethan. Sick towards the site, finds the next frag, and Misfits come out on top. That was a beautiful 3v5.
Yeah, excellently done from Devaduvic, taking that timing to push through the smoke. And the second kill, this was just really nice. That readjustment, Cutler had him almost dead to rights, looking at him, knew where that damage was coming from, the initial spray, and still was able to clean up that threat easily. Very well done. And good on Shazam for stopping that plant. Found an opening in a situation where Ricky thought he was covered from both sides. But unfortunately for him, there was 3. And now heavy Ivy presence. I think Ethan actually gets hit by his teammate. Maybe Devaduvic spraying down this long lane. And our #1 man, Finesse, walking back from ground halls to T-Con with nothing but a Galil.
Of course, in the 6th round, we watched Misfits get reset. They were able to pick up that 1. Went back down into pistols. We see a bit of a struggle here from CLG to field the full rifle buy, as Ethan holds his sidearm and takes that forward spot. But obviously, CLG is still in a good spot to just collapse into the bomb site. Ethan's life expendable if he's traded out. And there's nobody here to wrap the other side of Ivy, so Devaduvic has to hold it, and instead he goes down. Aminex next up, and with the UMP, he too toppled. Sean goes wide and then goes down, as all of these kills belong to CLG. Shazam finally finding something, but it's a bit of a parting gift, as that bomb's been planted, his team sits 2v4, and the save's already been called.
you got to wonder why there's just no attention being played to Ivy. Like they sent 4 people there. Misfits did throw 1 counter nade, then just completely fell off. And I know as a CT, nobody wants to play it. It's incredibly difficult. It feels like it's 50-50 as a CT looking down Ivy. And that's why a lot of teams have been playing 2 people there to support from each side. It's actually more terrifying, though, for the terrorists to have to come up. And I think that's what people have to remember, is that it needs to be played number 1. And number 2, it's not that easy for terrorists to come up. They feel like they're always about to get peeked. They have the CTs have the advantage at every moment that they inch forward and hold W. And yet, with it given up, look how close that they can get to the bomb plant zone, which is the key point of this. Even throwing smokes, covering each other, and it's just CTs in shambles. And it seems like we might have a tactical pause, which would be well-timed, and likely from Misfits, but I think it's who was supposed to play Ivy. It's the only question.
Yeah, it's going to be a big question.
But,
Go on.
But it's like, that isn't the question, because it must have been called to not, because this isn't the first round that's happened. You know, it's not like somebody gave up their responsibility. We've seen CLG do this exact same thing. I just don't know why.
I feel like Ivy as well opens up so many avenues. I mean, we saw CLG use it in that last round to just flood into the A bomb site, but then going back to round number 6, where Misfits are actually able to win, we watch them use it all the way towards CT spawn and then pinch into that B bomb site. So I feel like when you have a portion of the map that isn't always utilized by the terrorists, but can be utilized in such an important and varying fashion, that you've got to hold on to that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was the name of the game yesterday with CLG. How many times did they give up that portion of the map on their CT side?
Yeah.
I can't help but feel like they've recognized the importance overnight, and now they're just exploiting it.
And you'd hope that they have the same thing, and that Misfits try to, and that Misfits end up playing it themselves. But the other thing is that, yeah, you have, so that's why you have teams like SK who would always not just play around Ivy, but push up aggressively, so that you know from the beginning of the round that there was no one even close to Ivy. Like FNS, when he was pushed up in B-Apps on Mirage, and he was able to see to the stairs, he could tell his teammates to leave, you know, whereas if you play at the end of Ivy, or at the beginning of Ivy, I should say, within your site, that's why you need to play with 2 people, because when there's 4 people at the top of it, and you've got to deal with all of them, that's when you need some help. But if you've got one person all the way down at the end, if that guy dies, he gets info so early, he can control and help rotations from at a time where he doesn't need anyone beside him to make sure they trade out.
Look at this setup. Sean with a Mag 7, and Sick has the AK next to him. Luckily for Sick, he catches the headshot onto Ethan, who gets the opening frag, but the entirety of CLG is here and poised to push in. But they have second thoughts, and they fall back from this. The problem being they have no map control anywhere else.
Which is normally fine for them, so because they aren't doing this Ivy dance, CLG don't really have to worry that Misfits are ever going to push it, because they never have. And now typically if you do forfeit map control, just as you're mentioning, you aren't really able to go back to that part of the map without clearing out everything meticulously and burning time off the clock in a situation where you should have just left someone there at the beginning of the round, so you don't have to do that. And here, as we can see, they're quite simply walking back, have no qualms about going for it, and I'm curious how it's going to pan out. They definitely have the advantage no matter where they go at this point. It's Devo Duvek and Amanek both only having Deagles to work with, so.
CLG just completely flop sides of the map. There's very little to hold them in here. Shazam with the op finds Kusta, and now Devaduvic uses the gap in the smoke. Rikke is able to trade it, but that's still the 2v3, and Shaz finds another and the last. Big plays off of the op. That's a 3K for him and a 5th round for Misfits.
This looks like some super tight peaks, though, as well. Really good 3K, and again, there was 4 players up for Misfits, so they had 1 more, but they didn't have anything to deal with that. Nice 180 and another peak. Looked even more sick on FNS's screen. Tough to deal with. I like that CLG worked their way back. The Ivy smoke obviously didn't work in their favor. I don't think they had it lined up properly. Shazam takes a bit of a hit, and so does Rikke in Olaf, but this duel is not quite over yet, and Shazam on the re-peak catches them trying to fall off.
Shuts that one down. Now he's flashing to Ivy. Devaduvic dealing a lot of damage after finding one frag. Shaz looks to finish things off. It's still CLG at the man disadvantage.
I wonder why Shazam didn't, or it seems like Devaduvic called for the bottom, for Ivy to be smoked behind him so that they would just come in and peek setup, maybe have grenades out. Maybe he was intending to dry push. And I guess, yeah, if they decided to flash, a lot of times people will just sit there waiting for a flash and will be able to turn around, and in that situation, he might not have been able to get any.
A blanket of tension covering the map. Ethan able to get onto the B bomb site, but he's only got that pistol to play with. He did have utility, but that gets chucked to the wayside as Shazam finds another frag. Sean near caught off guard, but Aminex able to save him, and that leaves Cutler 1v4. Now, a lot of damage has been dealt, and he's able to spray for Shaz. Knows Sean's above and will remove him, but Aminex still there to trade things out, and that's 6-6 to the scoreboard.
As things slowed down for CLG, it's actually Misfits are becoming more and more apt at capitalizing. That was a kind of a straight up outside take, and they really used Ricky early on to try to get an initial frag with his scout. I don't know if he was meant to get as much information as possible or if he was going to trigger and execute if he did get a kill, but that wasn't the case. And now they have pistols to fall back on. Okay, obviously trying to bait out shots if possible. Doesn't find anybody pushing into ladder. But a congregation of terrorists towards B.
Now with Finesse already out on the A site and Ricky here to distract, they could try to create some kind of a opening, some kind of a distraction in order to allow the rest of their players onto B. Aminex spots both targets and finds one. Still Finesse to deal with as Sick holds off on the B site. Ultimately dropping to Cutler, who then drops his bomb. CLG dropped the round and Misfits find a lead.
I really like that Finesse uses two players to bait attention on fake execs. And in that situation, it was a very low utility fake, but if you use two people in total, you're much more likely to get the attention of the full team. And it made a lot of sense. So even on rifle rounds, that is though. And I think the key point though is that you're not sacrificing those two people entirely. You're setting them up to either at least get one kill or go 2 for 2 if possible. But that's really how you control rotations or hold them or influence them versus even good teams.
This is now 3 consecutive rounds for Misfits. Looking for the 4th as Six able to find another 2K towards the site. Aminex does arrive but drops to the AK of Ricky, who's able to grab himself the bomb and exit back. Of course, during this time, Finesse has gotten himself onto the A site, so poor Misfits left scratching their heads, wondering where CLG has gone. And it's a matter of time before they realize it's elsewhere.
Oh, Ricky could have gotten it a lot sooner if he had just used FNS to smoke that. And now that they've taken their time, some setup has been had. FNS not going to peek off that flash either. That would have been a really good setup. And now Sean Gears ends up winning the duel.
Missed the window of opportunity. Instead, it gets shut on his fingers, leaves Ricky 1v2, but with enough time to play with, he could still wrap all the way back to B. His options
He'll clear this.
Are open, and he catches Sean back turned as he then turns towards the site and at a distance duels. It's Devaduvic to find it, and Misfits with 8 now as they come out on top of another close situation.
I'm glad we're watching Sick right here because him getting that kill was pretty nuts, and then him getting this one as well. I mean, he has been nothing short of fantastic at B, and you know Shazam got double peeked and wrecked on that lower ramp, but he needed to get those kills because he was activating the execute and did his job, and he continues to do his job.
Consistently getting 2Ks on that bomb site.
Yeah.
Now that's going to leave CLG with a deflated bye in the last round of the half. Looking desperately to close that gap to a minimal 1-point difference. Ethan already gets himself onto the site, puts his gun together, and Amadex starts to topple them down. Shazam chimes in with an op shot as well, and they drop like flies until Finesse finds something. Cutler, all that's left, taps off the CZ, deals so much damage, but damage is not enough. There we have it. CLG forfeiting the lead, Misfits taking it 9-6 in the end, and they will attempt to close things out once the second half gets rolling. That second half, of course, will begin after a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go too far. It's the ESL Pro League.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
Howdy, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the ESL Pro League, where we just watched Misfits have a very successful T-side on Train. 8-7 was the score at the beginning, or of the first half on Mirage, and now this time we find Misfits with that extra little buffer.
Yeah.
9-6, but again, on the T-side, most notably.
On the CT side.
CT side, most notably.
Yeah, no, on the CT side, which is really good. I mean, that's a quota for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 rounds, they should be feeling pretty comfortable. They've got a lot to work with here, a lot more breathing room, and it was off the back of a recovery where they were looking a lot more shaky. I think there was a lot more positive things to say about CLG on their T side, and taking some of those rounds the way that they were changing it up, and I think it was up until maybe round 9 or 10 where it seemed like CLG might even just run away with the half. Shazam here, 124 ADR for his team. 20-8 is KD. Huge reason that bailed them out.
I mean, you bring up how you know, it looked really shaky for Misfits and that they were able to get something par for the course, but the fact of the matter is 5 of those rounds come in the very last 5. That was a very real opportunity for CLG to walk away with a massive T-half, and then there was that you know, little trade back in the 8th and 9th rounds where the economy of CLG becomes in question. CLG then really give things up once Shazam has that AWP in his hand consistently, because clearly he's found impact here tonight. And I mean, that was DeBear's, you know, key point.
Shazam kills people, Misfits win.
And what has happened here, Launders?
Shazam killed people, and Misfits
might win.
Might win. Yeah. We're halfway there.
Yeah. The pistol could change everything, but at least we've gotten ourselves a respectful scoreline. So regardless of the outcome, we've had a good game.
The pop, Scrawny. The power of the pistol.
Yep.
Not the soda like you guys say here in America.
What do you mean, you guys? I'm Canadian.
I'm talking to the...
Oh, okay, you're talking to the...
you guys, yeah.
All right. The internet, you guys.
Yelling at my computer screen right now.
Some very artistic flybys. We hope that you guys enjoy them as we are just preparing to start this second half. We did see, of course, the B-site execution from CLG both nights, back-to-back nights. They have used the very same pistol round on the T side. So they like to go to that. I'm curious to see if Misfits look to use the same thing, because obviously on Mirage they had that same mirrored A-site execution for their pistols.
Yeah.
I want to know if Sean and Finesse are, you know, comparing playbooks.
Yeah, you're somewhat limited on like how much variety you have when entering B, and it gets to the point where if you use more than like 2 smokes, you're almost wasting your time, because you only really need to block out people coming out of Z. You got to make sure you can clear pop, and then focus on killing people spools or anywhere around the bomb train. And apart from that, you just want to keep it simple. Guns out, like suns out, guns out. And as long as you trade your kills, there's only going to be like 1 or 2 people there. CTs know that they can retake that site, so it's not that difficult to get in as a terrorist.
Here we will have the Sean Gares setting a smoke. Does fly over into the A site, plumes within the middle. Devidovic with some nades of his own, blocks off one side, but it is going to be a little jump peek here from Finesse, spotting targets as they try to move forward. Meanwhile, Misfits able to exit on T-Con, so they've got themselves into a great spot. Lots of layers to this play, but still lots of players still standing on both sides. Kusta tries to duel, and there's CLG with 3 very quick kills. Devidovic up close, and Amanek on Ivy. Traded out, and now it's all on the Frenchman himself. He's got 2 frags already in this one, and 2 more to go. Cutler on the kit, Ricky on the cross. Devidovic just creeps around the corners, able to find 1 headshot already. And he needs only 1 more, goes high and takes it. Devidovic with a 4K and an impactful pistol.
Hell yeah, that was nice. That was nice. Wow, he played around that train so well, and he was able to win around that. It seemed like CLG were going to clean up no problem. Those 4 headshots in quick succession, all on the kill feed at the same time. Whoa, CLG just bought 3 scouts.
Jeebus.
This can work out. I mean, it's a very lane-heavy map with tons of distance and the opportunity to tag each person, but how are they going to use them is the question. 1 inner, 2 outer.
It still counts, right?
How is that even possible? I want to know if it was his teammates' head that freaked him out and he shot and the T peaked at the same time, or I'll let the replay tell the story.
Misfits start to entry into the B site. It's still going to be those scouts at a distance. Ethan, one of which, is able to get himself to the high ground as Shazam toys with the ladder.
See how cramped it gets on the B site? No one can find a good after plan spot.
Very true. Ricky finds another headshot. That's 3 now this round. Amanek responding back quickly. Ricky with another. So much damage dealt.
No.
And he gets himself a 4th. A potential ace for Ricky. Could be 6 kills in totality. He's going to get onto the bomb, holds it, and down he goes as Amanek finds the frag. No kit to play off of. Misfits shut things down, but one hell of a round from Ricky.
5 kills that round. That's an ace. That's how I describe an ace.
Is it Kusta's fault?
Oh man, it wasn't Kusta's fault. He's some bunch of nice shots here. Whoa, dude! I wish he just played for himself. You know, like why do you have to play all for the round and whatever?
God,
why do you have to go and try to stick that bomb?
Trying to be a teammate. What's wrong with him?
Pathetic.
He will buy himself his signature Zeus. Meanwhile, Sick able to wrap already to the side of Ivy. Shazam finds an opening frag, and Finesse will trade back off of the USP. Sean Gares has had enough. Just floods his bullets into the chest of Ethan. Smoke blocks off the connector, and now the bomb goes down. So they've secured some safety, and there we have it. 4v2 after plant, no utility for the retake, but the Zeus is still in his hands.
Always a good option to abuse is having those MAC-10s come out and come out in front. Not much CLG can do here. Ricky bought a Zeus. As per usual, not much that, there's no opportunity for him to get an exit either. It seems they're all going to fall back to whence they came, T-Con. It was really good damage that Ricky was able to do last round. It's kind of counteracted by the fact that they have to full save here, and the fact that they didn't actually get that many kills, along with the fact that they have expendable weapons, which is just really smart play by Misfits, obviously. And here we're going to have some upgrades, but again, that's only a $1,000 investment. as well as the fact that for each kill you're getting 600 back. So, big thing for Misfits, they've got double the rounds. They've got a rifle round with extra money in their pocket. And CLG have to kind of prove that they can win on CT side. The whole new beast.
The beast of burden. At least they've got some utility to play with. Look at this, though. Changing up their stance from last night, we actually see a little Ivy presence from CLG.
Yeah. And see, Kusta can leave right now. He knows that all the way up until T-Con that there is no terrorist there. That means he can leave for like 15 seconds or more and be perfectly comfortable telling his team that they don't have to watch Ivy at all, which is the value of getting info there or peeking it.
All of that knowledge off of a single gander. Of course, here comes Misfits trying to charge into the A site, blanketing it in smoke and allowing for Sick to get onto site, able to find the plant on top of that. So still a 5v3, but at least some success for Misfits. Devaduvic able to hold this line, having his op. But he's so tagged right now that
I'm not even sure he saw that leg.
he is able to find Rikke, though. So here comes Amanek off of the flash, finding one and looking to continue his spray. Devaduvic takes the next, but now he's all that's left. 2 frags already and almost finds the flick, but instead it's CLG to find another round. 12-7 and a 5-point difference for now.
Well played, and well played, and they got that information early on. They held versus the execute. They got that 5v4, which was a big deal as well, and they did like something like 150 damage. So it's like 3.5 players to work back against as 5 coming out of pretty good after plant spots, or sorry, retake positions. And even though Misfits threw mollies down and smokes all in the right spot, CLG had the advantage from the beginning to the end of that round. So it did come down to Kusta hitting that 1 kill, because it would have been a much... Winning a 1v1 on outside on train is close to impossible most of the time, just because of how you can work around both sides. And yeah, Kusta really didn't just BDP and peek Amanek in that situation. Misfits could have won that.
Ooh, crucial kill. Despite giving up that early control of Ivy, Kusta's still able to find Shazam. Comes out on top of the op fight.
Push it or fight it, but don't abandon it. 2 players close up. 2 players close up inner, 1 player pushed up ladder. I love this, like going for information and making sure to stay in their faces at all times. And it's at this point where CLG can loosen up a bit, because they have that 5v4, and it's really all about that first kill, where you have to be aggressive in all these different places. But the round's not over yet, so you can kind of see why they're holding position. Also, they're in great spots to trade.
Misfits are looking to trade out on this B site, having all 3 players poised. Cutler spots the flags and does put down the flames. Ethan finds the head of Sick, and Cutler's fully blind, but still dealing damage onto Sean, who finds himself the frag. Amanek able to catch Finesse, and Ethan cowers to the smoke.
Oh my god.
They are side by side. Sean walks by, and Ethan's gonna hold this.
They're so mad. Oh my god, they're so mad.
He hears it, he peeks, and he takes them both down. Surprise, surprise, as all of them die. It's CLG with another round and a single op in the next.
There's a play that you can't do when you have a teammate alive on the site. But if you are the only person in the site, there's a smoke down, you know the execute's coming, you've got to do something weird. So walking in there, waiting for the bomb to go down, there's no way they're going to watch the back of this. They don't think he ran around pop. They don't think he did anything but went to safety behind the bomb train. And so it's close to 100% as you get to like sneak up on at least 1 person. He was fortunate to get 2.
The double spinal tap. Of course, that leaves Misfits in a really awkward spot. It's just a bunch of pistoleros. Sure enough, Amanek with a deagle. We've seen him already tonight have some filthy shots. But versus a fully armored, fully armed CLG, he shouldn't find much. Cutler.
Ski shooting.
Yeah. Looking to find them as they rain into the bomb site. Crosshairs offset, enough for them to find some space. And Sick up close takes Ethan. Sean starts to burn alive, but Devadovic finds another. And CLG are starting to fumble. Shazam's got his hands onto the AK. And the T side actually have a little bit better of an afterplant spot. With 2 players pushed up here, they could find Finesse up close. He needs to spray for both, and he pulls the trigger, only to die to Sean, who gets himself another rifle. Misfits looking to upset in this round. They know the ops to the top side. Ricky takes 2, and he's gonna need 2 more. But time is an issue. So the retreat is called. Misfits have done it with only some pistols.
Yeah, that's a write-off. Oh, Ricky doesn't even get that kill. He doesn't save the op. That's kind of big. Amanek gets away with it too. Runs away even though his teammate died there. This is a write-off. This is an ugly round. We don't want to talk about it too much. Ethan gets destroyed inner. Cutler misses a lot of easy shots. And his molly doesn't pop soon enough that he can deny the plant completely. Which it seemed like he was half focused and that's why he missed in the first place. But it's funny because he lost in both ways. He didn't get that initial kill, he also didn't get that molly out in time. So maybe if he just threw it right away, let Ethan take first contact on upper. He shouldn't really have to handle. I mean, he knows that he just basically missed, and that's why they lost the round.
Despite winning 2 rounds back-to-back, CLG still down to just pistols. Looking to quickly reestablish their economy. And so they're going to have to buy very lightly in this. I mean, Finesse is something to work with, and Cutler's got the P250, but another moment where it's bare bones minimum.
4 players inner. Toss-up as to where to go. Again, a lot of options for both Ts and CTs on this round. Information is going to be gathered inner, and that might trigger a rotate. Yeah, everyone's leaving. But it's a bit too late. Misfits picking a good timing to now hit outside from T-Con and Ladder with control of it. And that's it. Clean, simple, and solid.
Little spray from Sean. Taps away to the distance. Devadovic wants his kill, and he'll find it. Little love tap back from Sean. Shaz watches the back, and Devadovic takes another. So a very convincing round from Misfits. They see that opportunity towards the A site. They realize that there's no CTs up close. Yeah. They flood in, and that's where they stand their ground. So CLG now hitting a bit of desperation as Misfits are on the cusp of a win.
Kusa going to be picking up the op in one of their maybe last rifle rounds of this map. If it is the case that Misfits continue to have such a stellar T-side. I'm going to be tossing a couple of nades outside to either bait some reaction or cause a distraction. Sick. I don't know if he meant to show the bomb, but he could have. Either way, now that they know that there are no CTs getting aggressive, and either T-Con and or pushing up inner, they won't have a fast flank to deal with. They might be able to pull off quite a simple outer take with simply ladder control. And no one hears to fight them.
Seeing as earlier on, Kusta was over on Ivy, I feel like they're trying to get him in a position where he can rotate to either site. Just sits inside of Zed instead, leaving Ricky on Ivy. But at least CLG are playing it, because yesterday, man, they left those portions of the map just so wide open. So a welcomed change. As we hit that 40-second mark, looks like Misfits, well, they're giving up on their Ivy play.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. It seemed like they were setting everything up so they could just have like a full-on split outer, but are giving it up. And I can't actually tell why. They haven't gained any new information. Amanek has made his way down ladder, so it's the first bit of map control they're actually using they've earned.
Maybe gambling that they did pull the rotation. They most certainly did. They also find Neath Ethan for free. He goes down quite quickly at that. 5v4, an immediate save call here from CLG, but it's a good lurk from Amanek as he doubles down, near finding a third. Instead, Kusta shuts him out, but would have been 4 guns moving into what could be the final round. Instead, It is only 2, and that's the best case scenario, seeing as Misfits are on the hunt.
Definitely a salt-inducing moment when you have 4 players and you decide to save nice and early, and you're like, okay, we're going to do this properly, get all the way back to Ivy, set up in positions where they're not going to be able to kill us without a trade coming out, and then 2 players die right away, and you're like, damn it, we could have just gone for the retake, or we could have tried. We might as well have. So yeah, they really covered all bases. Oh, nice peek from Shazam. Takes out Kusa, who's bested him a couple of times this map, but overall Shazam has had way more impact. 25 kills, big plays, and yeah, this is, you know, after the intertake, Amanek was just here to secure the round. If they did try to retake it, and ends up killing 2 players exiting for free, falling right into his hands. Busted by for CLG. 2 CZs, 2 UMPs, 1 scout. But there's a player named Ricky in the server.
Gave us a beautiful scout clip just earlier in this map. I'm sure he'd love to do it once again. Sean trying to keep the B site honest, and Cutler has gotten aggressive here. He's hiding behind those boxes, but not looking to play hyperactive, just holding the line.
You know, if you're going to play the default style, just don't get too frisky. Like, don't peek any long angles. You can clear stuff out, but just not by yourself. And then just go and execute on something together. And there's Sean with his teammate. Almost got ugly. Amanek dinked. But they get a kill.
Off of the team flash.
No, it wasn't a team flash.
Was it not? Was
no,
did he flash himself out?
I think Amanek asked for a flash and someone threw it through the window.
Blind regardless, so nicely done by Sean. Saves the day. Keeps Amanek alive for now, but now he's got to find Ethan up close. Keep your gun out. Oh. He goes down, and that's now an AK retrieve. But in the meantime, Misfits execute into A, just barreling forward and allowing Devadovic to come in late. Sick, and he combined for 2, leaving CLG worse for wear. Molotov blocks off Ethan.
Oh boy. Fire at the feet. Oh, and he's dead.
Doesn't even try to run. He accepts his fate, as does Kusta. Misfits bounce back after a loss on Mirage and will be able to split maps tonight, 1-1. I mean, I believe DeBear said it best. Shazam gets kills, Misfits wins.
Yeah, it's true. He had a really high ADR. He was getting a lot of op kills. He was doing a good job of avoiding op duels because Kusta was actually winning quite a few of them.
Yeah.
And kept punishing those riflers.
And I mean, once we switched sides, it was just an immediate game here for Misfits. I mean, they win their pistol round, they convert those points, and while CLG put a couple up, it is then stripped from their hands. So speaking of DeBears, let's go ahead and throw this one back to the Xfinity analyst desk. It is all yours.
Yeah, he got something right after that tough prediction earlier on today. Congratulations.
Jason, I get a lot right. Okay, Jason.
Yeah.
Just lay it off, right?
All right. Well, Misfits bounce back, and they even up the series 1-1 on the evening. A nice match against CLG there on Train. This time it looked like CLG, that CT side was a little bit. I mean, they just got outplayed. It felt like. I mean, Misfits pulling them all across the map. Seemed like Sean was finding ways for guys like Devadovic to get a little bit more space to make some plays, and you could see the outcome. It just looked a lot better for Misfits.
Yeah, I mean, nothing to take away from Misfits. I mean, it's hard to lose a map when you win both pistols and you don't lose any of the force buy rounds. And on top of that, the one gun round that CLG won on their CT side, the next round, Misfits comes back with P250, no armor, no flashes, rushes out upper inner, gets both entry kills, and wins the round. Like, everything was working.
The reset as well.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from Misfits, but it's like, you know, when you play that well, win both pistol rounds, you're going to take the map usually.
Well, I mean, it's funny you mentioned Misfits with an explosion at the upper ramp. I think this is... Oh, no, this is the round. This is the exact round. Wow, production's on point. I like it. I love it.
Yep.
And this, I mean, this is exactly what you talk about. There's very little nades. Obviously, you can see no armor, mostly pistols, and they just get too much space in the center yard.
It's kind of curious on how Cutler was way back in the top ramp, and his teammate was way pushed up. I think if you're kind of... You know, you expect maybe Nico play both back and just kind of play the range game. If they spill in, you miss your shots, just play the retake. nade common spots, and use the number game, right?
Yeah.
Right there, a little too split up.
Yeah, a little like some like discordant play, right? So one guy's close, one guy's far. I would say like, yeah, you usually want to play far, but if one's gonna play close, like be together.
Please, or hit your shots. I think
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah, it's good to kill people.
And eventually, when those pistols get down the lanes the way they did, and they find all that space, it's just kind of over from there. Too much ground to cover, too many different spots you have to clear as the CT side. I mean, what are we chalking this up to? This great. I mean, obviously not losing the eco rounds like you mentioned. That's a big step forward. Did they do anything different that you noticed against rounds where CLG had their pistols?
I think they were a
You could
little
say
more
no.
assertive.
Okay.
I think, yeah, they were a little more assertive. It was less like cautious, right? They were cautious for a small period of time, and then when they
Chose
put the
their
pedal to
moment.
the metal,
Yep.
and like, let's do this. Let's Molotov and start running instead of walking everywhere.
Yep. All right. Well, I know, Eric, you had a round that you wanted to talk about. It was a contact play from CLG towards
Yeah,
the interbox.
so about mind games. Here's like, I like to see the mind games, all right? So last night you saw them playing at C9. They had an inside take. They smoked lower, bomb site, flash over, and then took it. But this time around, probably knowing that Sean watches the demo, they kind of spilled out top ramp without the nades and the smokes. And so it's kind of little twist to their strat to where, it's like in the Pro League, you have to keep adjusting. You have to keep tweaking your moves a little bit. You can't. You just can't keep doing the same thing over and over. And so I like the adjustment. Unfortunately for CLG, it just wasn't enough for the match.
Yeah, and one guy you also talked about in the pregame was Shazam. So he seemed to come alive a lot better in this game as well. I mean, like Launders mentioned, that epic line is if Shazam gets kills, they win. And obviously he was pretty effective in this match.
He was hitting a lot of nice off shots, just spinning around in circles, doing Shazam things, mixing it up. Like as you see, he sometimes pushed inside. He played bomb trade. He played Ivy. It's just if you have a dangerous opera like Shazam, don't just put him in the same spot all game. Mix it up. Have your teammates kind of just have flashbangs or smokes to kind of bail him out if he's playing in aggressive spotting and misses or whatnot. Or if he gets one kill, just smoke flash and he can fall back.
Yeah, I'd say Train is like perennially like opera paradise, right? You get those long angles and
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
Well, it also gets a little bit messy when there are smokes everywhere, which is always fun because you have that clip of Ethan. You wanted to talk about that one of him just chilling in that smoke.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to be showing it here, but Ethan.
We will.
Yeah. Ethan was a very naughty boy here in this clip.
He was a little bit of a jerk,
Yeah,
isn't he?
he's a
This
really
is one of those
naughty
plays
boy.
where you're just like, you're kind of a jerk.
Yeah. I mean, this is great. So one thing that kind of makes me mad about this is that Misfits knows that Ethan is an inner player. Right? Like right here, it's 3v3. They could have easily gone outside. Ominic just got a kill on FNS outside a ladder.
He gets stuck there.
They know, like, no, they were not stuck in ladder. They could have gone back up the lower ramp like 10 seconds ago, but, they allow Ethan to make the
And
superstar play.
Just unaware that he'd be in that position.
Yeah.
That's perhaps a little bit of the frustrating thing. But still, cool play from Ethan. We talked about him. He's starting to get a little bit better, improving, and we're seeing him make plays, especially towards that inner bomb set at times. Now, if you guys missed any of these matches, either yesterday, either earlier today, or later on tonight, you can catch the VODs at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ESLCS. Also, pro tip, gaming.youtube.com/ESLCS is sick to watch this as well. You can check them all out from the European division also. And if you want to get fancy on YouTube, throw up some ESCA clips, because ESCA is a very, very awesome place to play Counter-Strike, the industry-leading anti-cheat. It's all good stuff. Throw some clips up there from your pugs. Get into Rank S. Have James Rank S good time?
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
I live for it.
Yeah.
Every morning I wake up and I look forward to when the Rank S queue pops. I literally queue right when I wake up, and I just wait for 10 to get in.
And it's the stress relief at the end of a long game.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see you in Rank S. Either way, we're going to head to a quick break. When we come back, it's going to be the battle for Brazil. It's going to be SK Gaming taking on Luminosity.